wonderful day and welcome. My name is Seth, and as promised, here it starts with the reboot of the beginner's guide. And we're gonna turn it into a sort of series, I guess. Like individual videos for certain topics. The reason for that is that we can now go more in depth. I obviously have more knowledge, the game is obviously more updated, there's more things available, I understand a few things more and I can talk more about them. In my beginner's guide video I said having everything in one place is a bit more convenient and I hate splitting it up. But I did notice that in this 2-hour video, even though there's enough information, there was things where I skipped over, I didn't know them, I couldn't go in depth in them because I tried to be as short as possible, of course, but it turned out it was more harmful than I thought it would be. So now we're gonna turn this into single individual topic videos going into certain areas. Oh, what does Hulk do? What does this do? And can go more in depth into each individual topic, which I think is probably a bit better for stuff like this. I will obviously provide a playlist where we have all these videos like connected, so you can just hit the playlist, go to the topic you want to see, bam. I'm only gonna use this video mainly for talking about this intro, so I won't have them in the other videos. They will be more accessible. Just wanted to use this like first most boring topic and video of the series to clarify things, talk about why and when, etc. You know, like the intro thingy. I apologize that all this like takes a long time at the moment. This is because I obviously trying to structure these videos a bit more out. And on the same time, I do kinda juggle between 6 different things at the same time at the moment, which means I do way too much. But if I like can get my upper hand on like one thing I'm doing, I can maybe put more time into the others and everything will be better later. For now, it's a bit of juggly-duggly, and then apologize when stuff takes time. Bear with me. But it's for the greater good in the end. Why is this the most boring video of them all? Well, because we're gonna start going over the menus. The menus and options kinda. We're gonna talk about those and then we're gonna move on to explaining what is all this stuff here around in Mesopolis Square, Plaza, what do you wanna call them. So let's get started with going over the menus. First thing to note, Wish also did launch a new launcher, which is very great. It has like, it is based off the OGJP launcher, and it is fantastic. I love the new launcher. I can't show him because I'm not sure if Capcom will be not right with that. Obviously, most of you know that the copyright incident happened and why stuff got like delayed by months. Starting with Frontier again, but we're gonna start again, see how it goes, of course, and hope for the best. So let's start with the menus. Obviously, when you have your, I say, main menu, here you have different options. All these options are different things, and we're gonna go over them and try to explain them as best as I can. First of all, we have items, of course. This should be pretty straightforward for every hunter out there. This is just for your items. You can take on quests. You have 2 pages. The third page is for ammo exclusive, and the fourth one is for your cat or your partner. This is very important to mention because sometimes there's quests where you have no items allowed, and if you have a cat and she has items in her inventory, you need to take those items out too, otherwise it doesn't count. This is very important. And yes, it's only 2 pages, it's maybe a bit small space for most of you and something you need to get used to, but it is what it is. We can't just simply add another page and try to learn a bit inventory management at this point, I guess. Next, we have Combine. Combine is, as you know it from the other Monster Hunter games, you can combine 2 items or up to 3 items. This is due that some combinations do have alternate versions or are just simply made with 3 items. This, I think, is not present in any other Monster Hunter game except like where Frontier is based off, DOS. So, very interesting. I like the idea, but I think there's nothing too exciting to use these like triple combinations. And then, of course, you have the combo list where your combinations get added and you can also just access them from here. You can bind them to the quick slots, which we're gonna talk later on. Like, as you see on the bottom left, there's the assign quick slot button thingy with the bind F key. You can also swap the recipes, which shows you the alternatives for this recipe. For potion, for example, we have either using day herbs and blue mushrooms, or you have herb and blue mushrooms. You have for mega potions, potion and honey, or triple combination with honey day herbs and blue mushroom and honey herb blue mushroom. Then you have also like the success rate, of course, and everything you need to know, and then can just simply combine it from here technically. Then next we have the quest info, of course. Quest info should be straightforward. It shows the information of the quest you are currently active having. Then we have a bigger subcategory with a status. Status has a lot of other things, and we're gonna go over them. First we have the appeal mark. Appeal mark is pretty much like icons for like, the best way to explain it is like, you probably know this from MMORPGs when there's like icons that show you like different topics or things that you are doing. Like, this means your play style is like light, you like playing hard quests a lot, you play just whatever, right? You can put this icon in, and then this icon is shown, and players would know about these icons, can they just like quickly recognize, oh, wait, I'm looking for someone to play some hard quests. Oh, this guy likes to play hard quests, let's ask him, right? Then you have also an icon for the play schedule. Do you play like a few hours? Do you play however you like? Do you play a few minutes usually? It's also something you can like put in. Then you have your identity. I'm a working adult, I'm a student, or you don't want to say it. And then you have also an interest icon, which is very interesting. Like, obviously we all love hunters, so I'm gonna take that one. Now if you are out of the menu and press select on the controller button, sorry if I can't go over the keyboard and mouse controls much, because I just really don't play keyboard and mouse. It's very fiddly in Frontier and I rather avoid it. I'm using a controller, an Xbox controller, so you will hear me saying things related to that. I mean, the layout for controllers is pretty much nearly always the same. It's just like the button icons that change. So you should understand when I say, oh yeah, X button on the Xbox controller is obviously square button on the PS controller. Just keeping that in mind. So if you press now the select button here, you can see the icons you choose in the member list and then can recognize people directly on this if this is something you prefer. Next is the personal status, which is basically just your guild card information. You can look over here, all the information to what you normally won't see in the guild card, and you can also change the comment, which you see on the first page, and change the wallpaper. You can unlock different wallpapers. You have like a baseline, and then you can unlock different wallpapers with some, I think, call-up quests and especially event quests, or you hunt like 100 Fororukus to have like a Fororuku background, etc, etc. Then you have your equipment status, of course. You have the quest gear and the town gear. Your quest gear is obviously the one you use for quests, and then you have a visual change just for town. This is pretty much just visual and cosmetic. You can have an extra set just for town, so if you're in the city and not on quest, you have like, I don't know, some fashion or a different one than going on quest. That is an option too. Then you have your road status, which is a mechanic for the G rank, which we're gonna look into later. But basically you have here your information and your menu to unlock road skills, which are exclusive for the road, where you can also filter them. You can redo, like respect, I think. You can also increase the cost limit, because if you activate the skill, it costs the points you see above there. There's a limit. You can have only a certain amount of skills. And it's pretty much just like a little trade system. You can put some extra buffs on for the road itself. Next, we have the Diva status. To mention here, very important, this server is running on 9.0 at the moment. Server update, the latest. And there's already plans for 9.1 and 9.2, so look out for that. But right now, the Diva status is for the Diva Defense event, which is currently not actively working itself. There is still a way to play the Diva Defense quests, but without like all the benefits you will normally get from the event. So like the event is being worked on, and hopefully gonna work in the future updates as soon as possible. I think this is the last event-ish thing that needs to be like fully working. Also, Hunter Festival is like working already in the next update, I'm pretty sure. So Diva Defense is probably the last one, but this is normally the status where you see the Diva Defense progress and all the information related to that, which we're gonna cover later when it's actually fully available, of course. Then you have your SR status. So this is something that unlocks on Hunter rank 5 or 6, and it's pretty much your style rank or your GSR for your weapons. You can see the information here, which weapons you leveled, what GSR, what skills, what style you have equipped on them. And you also see your My Missions status, which is to reduce the, or like increase the attack ceiling, increase your status recovery time, etc. But we're gonna come to My Mission later. Just heads up, you have the information all here where you have like a quick overlook. The next, and bear with us, this is a bit of a mess still, the Transcend status. Transcend is a mechanic we're gonna go over later, and it is basically like the menu where you can upgrade this skill with stronger buffs and other things. Pretty much can lock the XP for some reason if you don't want to like level something specific and make it stronger, I guess. But yeah, it is pretty much the menu to manage these skills and buffs on the Transcend status. Then you have your Hunter Carrier, which is basically just achievements. This is literally just achievements. I'm not sure if they're working right now already. I think Wish did fix this, but I think not fully implemented in 9.0. I can't tell you exactly, but these are achievements which definitely are working at some point. I'm not sure right now or whatever, but Wish did take care of that. Achievements, there you go. Scenario info is technically showing you what stage you are in the serious quests or in the Diva main story quests later on, or like anything else. We're gonna go later on too, but it pretty much just shows you the information which quests you're currently in or what you need to do. Because for Diva Defense story, for example, you need to do certain quests, and some quests you need to do like in a row, otherwise they reset and you need to start them again. This is a good way to keep track of that. If you're like, oh wait, didn't I need to do this quest, what did I need to do again? Then you can just check scenario, oh yeah, right, doing that. Then you have your location info, which is basically just where are you, like server wise, which land, which area, whatever. And then you have lastly your monster info. Monster info is exactly as it is in the older gen Monster Hunters. You have like your information, your ecologies, your crone sizes, how much you hunted, and yeah, pretty straightforward, right? To note here, the ecologies I think need to be reworked anyway, so take them with a grain of salt. I think some of it just overlapping still. We need to like rework that stuff. Don't worry about it. But nice thing to maybe read through if you want to. The next tab is the community window. Community window has anything related to like what you would expect in like a classic MMORPG, as a friend list, as a short mail thing, like whispers or something. I obviously I can't tell you much about these stuff because I never use it. I play solo most of the time, and I have no much idea about like multiplayer stuff in general, like mini gimmicky stuff like this. So you have like member search, member info, friend invites, etc. all here. And yes, friends, you can make friend lists again. Like this was fixed. There was a bug or issue before where you like prevented your progress from saving when you invited or like added someone to your friend list. I'm pretty sure this is fixed in 9.0, but if you're not sure, ask in the Discord, and I'm pretty sure someone with more knowledge of that can tell you more. Then you have the only thing I could maybe talk about is the shoutouts here. You have like your predetermined shoutouts you can edit, and then just like in the chat window, in the chat window you can just do your quick shoutouts if you're doing that. Get back in your feet, soldier, right? Pretty handy. And this is all I can tell you to community, pretty much. Of course, I can only tell you what I know, and I try my best. Multiplayer stuff is not my strong suit, sorry. Then you have a guild menu, which is if you have a guild, which we come later to too. You have the guild menu here. You can see the status. You can manage if you're admin. You can have the admin menu, reject, added your logo, motto, everything related to that. See your members, your alliances, guild goals, which are not working, I'm pretty sure. I can't tell you exactly. I think guild goals are not right now working, but being worked on at some point. I could be wrong. This could be already fixed because I'm not too up to date with the constant updates from Wish, because he's a madman and updates like crazy. Alliances, I'm pretty sure are working. And yeah, pretty much all your guild information. Then you have the bind F key, which are, as I mentioned, the hotkeys. You can assign combos to this, or you can assign specific items to this. These are just quick slot items. I think F1 to F0. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, F1 to 12 is pretty much the standard, I think. These are, I'm pretty sure, keyboard and mouse exclusive, but you can obviously play with a controller and then still use the hotkeys if you assign them correctly. And these buttons are just, you press them and it does what you assign to it. Pretty straightforward, I guess. Pretty helpful for some people, maybe. Then you have the Hunter Navi, of course. You can check your progression guidos. Hunter Navi is obviously a progression guide. It helps you with some items and tries to push you forward and tells you a little bit what to do next. Because the game can be confusing with how much things are there. Some people get lost. Obviously, this is why we do this beginner's guide, or like this guideline video series now. Pretty much this is like an in-game thing. It shows you a sort of suggestion what to do next, and teaches you about the game and goes through you all the way to G rank. You can take a look here, of course, and we're gonna go into Navi still later on when we talking about progression a bit. I don't want to talk too much Navi right now. I feel like it's better topic in the progression section. Then we have the options video. Options are pretty much what you expect. You have your display town options, which are mostly for city. You can show the titles, which we're gonna edit later. You can change the name color from showing depending on your hunter rank, or just fixed colors pretty much. They're not all translated, but it's just fixed colors. I like HR, depending on what HR you are. Then you have your town draw distance, which I can show you here. Like, it is pretty much, how you call this in other games? The FOV? No, not the FO, not FOV, LOD? LOD, I think, yeah, was it? You can change the draw distance, like at what point should be stuff rendered for you. Like you can hear, if you set it to medium, you obviously don't see the NPCs anymore. If you do it too small, obviously not. And then auto range and large. I guess just keep it on large because there's no reason not to. It is pretty much just for the city. Then you have rendered town weapons. You can choose if you want to see weapons in town or not. I kind of like not seeing the weapons. Sometimes I do, depends on the weapon, but It's kind of nice little gimmick feature. Then you can change the size of showing text for NPC name displays. As you can see here, you can like go all the way crazy to this if it's like too small for you. And obviously you can also change the facility names. Yeah, play around with this, do it to your liking. The option is there. Then you have conversation zoom in and out, pretty much, or like having it off. It's pretty much if you talk to an NPC and you have it off, the screen will not change much. As you see, you just see your character and the menu doesn't change much. But if you turn it on now and then talk to an NPC, you just zoom into the NPC's face. This is literally just that option. So do whatever you prefer there, I guess. Then we have display gen and quests, which is more display options and other gimmicky stuff for quest related, like you see on quests. First of all, you can change your display if you want to see the character's name, the ID, the RPES. This is pretty straightforward. You can hide the UI, of course, which is for the hardcore players out there. I mean, I actually like, there wasn't like a cheat or something for Monster Unite where you called like have HP below 30% being above 30%, you called like have it automatically hide and then show up when you're like under 30%, or press the item button, like the item bar button, right? L1 or something. So that was really cool. We sadly don't have it here. We can just like straight up turn it off and on, but the option is there too, of course. Then you can also just individually change some things, like do you want to change, show the map or not. You have the travel arrow display. This is pretty much just what it says. It shows you which direction your camera or character is moving. I never used this thing, but I think it shows you the direction of either the camera is right now or you. This is because of the option down later. There's like an option down later for a camera evade or something. We're gonna talk about this in a second. But I think it's just for that. I never see anyone using this, so just turn it off, I guess. If you want to figure it out, go ahead. I don't stop you. Then we have the hotkey bar to be shown or not. If you turn it on, you see on the bottom left the hotkeys you set up. If not, then obviously it's not there. Then we have the control guide, of course, which is, as you can see in the top right under the Navi notification, it says which button does what, pretty much. Start button is menu, moving is LS button, chat is this, and this also obviously works in quests. So if you have a weapon, it shows you what moves you can do with what weapon. So keep that in mind. To note is that those don't 100% show always all the moves. There's some moves which are kind of like not mentioned in the guide. This is just from the game itself. There's nothing we can do. Like if you want a more in-depth about weapons, I guess you need to see if you can find a guide for it to see all the moves. But it's a really good like basic guideline to learn weapons and the movesets and whatever, because it changes depending on what style you have on the weapon and what you're doing right now. So if you have your weapon unsheathed, it shows you what you can do unsheathed, and if you're not, then not. Good. Then we have the F key type. I'm literally no idea what this does, because it's bound to the hotkey bar, I guess, but I never did use it. Maybe it changes the hotkeys or something. Can't tell you really much. You need to figure this out yourself, since we didn't translate it yet. Then you have the HUD bar length. Very important. There's a lot. I see a lot of people asking about this all the time. Why does this player has the HP bar and the stamina bar across his entire screen? Is there some hidden mechanic I'm missing? Is there like 250 million HP you can get and I just having 100% all the time? Like, no. No, everyone has the same HP. There's no such thing as 200 HP like World or something. It is a complete visual thing and you can change it here. just changes the hotbar to be fixed, which is like the standard size, or you can make it variable, which stretches the HP and stamina bar just across the screen. That's it. It's just a visual thing, so don't please get confused and take this as an informational heads up. Then you have the input prompt, which is probably pretty helpful. You can change the inputs shown for what button does what to either your gamepad, like controller pad, to controller and keyboard and mouse, or just keyboard and mouse. As you can see on the top there, it shows you like shift to switch to the pages here in this menu. And if I put it on pad, it shows you L1, L2 and R2, of course. Then we have the option to hide names for everyone or others than you. This is pretty helpful for maybe streamers or content creators when they doing some recordings or other content, and they're maybe in a server where it has like very offensive names or something. If they manage to get around the systems to preventing that normally, or you just want to don't show them, you can have the option here. Then you have the gathering icon display. This is in game, and I guess I can show you some footage later, but it's pretty much just showing you an icon when you're on the gathering spot. So if you're both like some mushrooms, you can have an icon displayed. Oh, you can gather here. It's literally just that. If you see some if you go around and see some bugs or mining spots, it shows you an icon. You can turn it on and off here. It's preference. Do what you want with it. Then you have the transparency for, I think, just menus. I never used this either, but I'm pretty sure it's just for the menus. Transparency should be known to everyone. It just does everything hiding, pretty much. Then you have the breast physics, of course, very important for a lot of people. This is just for female characters. It changes the bounciness of breasts. You have 3 options here, and as higher you go, as bouncier you get. You turn from little magnitude 1 earthquake jiggle biggle, briggle diggle, to jelly whopper, bouncer dopper. So the best option, if you want an opinion of that, is type 2, because this is like kind of balanced. 3 is too exaggerated, 1 is like not existent, and this is only applying to certain armors even. This is not even for every armor, keep that in mind. It's not like turning every of your female characters' outfits into some soft core experience. No, it is only for certain armors, so keep that in mind if you want to see the differences. Then we have 3 more options here. Facial expressions is exactly what it says. Your character can have like facial expressions depending on the situation. And this is the option to turn it on and off. Then you have simple team display. This is for the option when you have maybe performance issues or other stuff. You can turn people on quest into little cones that shows just not the entire hunter and their effects and whatever. It only shows like little cones running, colored cones running around with you. You have the option here to only change NPCs or everyone else, like your friends and whatever. So if you have problems, do that. Then you have also the option for reduced effects, which does kind of the same, just for special effects, like for monster attacks or your own stuff. So if you have problems with performance, these are probably 2 options you definitely want to look into to reduce performance and maybe have a better experience. Then we have the display high grade. This is only here when you have the high grade edition enabled. High grade edition is pretty much cosmetic options for in-game to make the game look prettier. This is literally it. Some people can't use it because they don't have the DirectX 9 installed. So if you have problems with getting high grade working, install DirectX 9. I think there's very few cases which just straight up can't use high grade edition at all. The game looks a bit different then, as you see it right now with me. I also have Reshade installed, so it definitely looks different for you anyway. But here you have the in-game options to change high grade stuff. As you can see, you can change here, press it to maximum quality priority or performance priority, and then you have single options you can change, like realistic shadows. You can change depth of field, high dynamic range, SSAO, God rays, anti-aliasing, and yeah, you can just go ahead and try it out. It takes effect immediately when you leave this menu. Do it to your liking, whatever you like. Then you have input options, of course, which are very important. Here you can change your input settings for controls, hotkeys, and whatever. Of course, very important to notice, if you have simple mode on, turn it off. Simple mode is like some weird beginner's guide fixed layout, pretty much. If you choose like SNS, for example, when you create your character, this is automatically turned on. Terrible setup. It's really bad and very confusing. Just turn it off, alright? If you see this on, turn it off immediately. If you have this turned on, you can't even change other stuff here. Like, stuff gets grayed out if you have this on. I think this is even only available with SNS. Simple control, yeah. It doesn't matter, just turn it off. No one needs it. Then you have your key settings, of course. This is for button assignment. You have hotkeys here you can change. Also for controller, of course. This should be straightforward for most people. They know this from other games. Yeah, don't need to explain this, I think. I explained this before in my controller guide video. Then you have the mouse settings and cursor settings. If you want to have mouse input on while playing with controller, for example, you can still have the mouse input on or turn it off if you don't like to have the mouse also doing shit. Same for cursor, of course. This looks like the mouse inside of the window. Then you have vibration. Vibration is for controller, of course. Camera controls we have here for inverted or just normal camera controls. The aiming speed, like this is the sensitivity pretty much. How fast you want to have the sensitivity for, I think just rotations, yeah. Rotations and camera speed. Then you have the camera pan speed, which means you either have it step-based or smooth. Smooth is basically just like a dynamic movement depending on what you press or like the steps. Like I can show you, like if you do step-based, it is way more, how you call this, like way more aggressive. Like it's way more aggressive in the switching of the angle. And if you have it smooth, then it's a bit better and has a better transition for the different steps. Like you can just, instead of just going straight up, you can just like make it a bit more control-y. Like you have more control over the angle. Something you probably just need to try out yourself and get a feeling for it. Then you have also the vertical camera speed, going up and down. Like this one is just horizontal. This one is like for up and down sensitivity. Then you have the evade camera. This one is very important because a lot of people ask, why is the evasion for me not based on camera? Why is it based on camera and not on my hunter? This is where you change it. I think type 1 is the one that lets you dodge roll depending on your camera, like evading. And type 2 is it evades depending on the hunter direction. So it ignores the camera pretty much. This is very important if you're looking for evasion issues. Like if you have trouble getting used to one type, just change it to the other, and you should be more familiar with the other one. Then you have automatic gathering. I really not sure what this does exactly. I never saw it in work, but maybe someone of you can figure it out and see what it exactly does. Maybe it is for the NPCs. Maybe it's for yourself, but I never saw this somehow working. Maybe there's a hotkey for this, but I have no idea. Bowgun camera type, I can't tell you much about this. This is probably just for bowgun users. I never used bowgun, but there's camera types apparently. Maybe this is reverse, inverse, something like that. But there's 5 options, so try it out, I guess. Then on the second side, we have also bow camera type again for bow. Try it out. Aim angle as reset. And quick aim controls, like this is pretty much just like ranged stuff, which I can't tell you much about. Lock-on mode, I never use usually 2, but there is there is a way that you can lock on to the camera to the monster. I only use the tab one, like if you tap L1, it like locks the camera or like switches the camera to the current main monster that you're fighting, or the nearest one. So I guess there's different options here, which I never needed to touch, but you obviously can try this out. Zenith Sigil Lock, no idea to be honest. There's the sigil mechanic, which we're gonna go over later, but there's an option for this, and anyone with more knowledge can obviously tell me or tell you in the comments probably more about it. So go ahead and don't be shy. I don't have the almighty knowledge, so you go ahead and share your wisdom with everyone. Then you have town movement and other player status. This is like this gimmicky options I never touched or never seen before, so you need to try them out yourself, but at least I can tell you where they are. Then you have NPC settings. NPC settings are very important because the game has AI controlled characters you can take on with your own quests. This window lets you choose which one you want to turn on or off. There's different type of kinds. You have like your personalized partner, you have your cat, you have Hulk, you have legendaries, you have temporaries, you have fosters and rosters. We come to all this later, but pretty much this is just an option to turn them on and off. And you can also I forgot how to do it, but there's an option to change the priority on them. No idea right now, but there's a way to change the priority on them. And it pretty much just says, oh yeah, if you put NPCs in my quest, prioritize these ones first. So you can like have your cat be on top, so it prioritizes that cat first. Then you have the chat options here. This is just literally for the chat. You can have chat icons or colors. You can have transparency for the chat. You can have the chat log in. You can change how much lines you want to show, or like I think the size or something. And you can choose if you want NPC chat or not. A Ravianta guide shown in chat 2, partner chat, or your cat chat, or your partner chat, of course. This is all just related to chat, obviously. Then you have simply sound settings, which is pretty straightforward for music and sound effects. Then you have other options, which are mostly relevant for gameplay stuff. Like you can have the option on always post hardcore quests. So every time you do a quest and there's hardcore option available, it will always post hardcore, so you don't need to do it manually. Is a neat thing if you like grind specifically hardcore only. Then you can always do the same for UL, which is unlimited. Automatic soul delivery. I think this is event related, but I could be wrong. So I can't tell you much about this because I didn't come in contact with this. Show good sigil rolls is later for sigil creating, which we gonna go in depth later, of course, when we can. And then we have post screenshot. Not sure if this is working. I never fiddled around with this actually, because I normally don't do screenshots inside of the game. I just do my own little Sharex program. So something for you to discover again, I guess. Always nice to have something yourself to discover too, right? Then we have the logging info. The logging info just shows you the login boost. Logging boost we talked about before. This is a buff that gives you exactly what it says. It resets per weeks, I think. Like if you put this is like available in 5 weeks again or something. And it gives you exactly what it says. The problem is this thing is busted. It's still buggy, it doesn't work 100%, and if you're unlucky, you just have clicked one of these buffs and they're infinite times on. And then the server host needs to disable this usually for you. Why won't you disable this? Like permanent buff? Cool. Well, this buffs are obviously meant for boosting you for an hour or 2 or even 3 normally. So if you have this permanently on, the problem is you see Hulk pot effect. Hulk pot effect is a 70% damage reduction. This is really bad in terms of I don't go and praise now, oh, cheating is bad, or if you do use Hulk pot exclusively, you scrub and suck. I don't care. Play how you want. This is a game after all. But what I can tell you and what I suggest is not playing permanently health pot, because obviously, as you can see, this is meant for type buff. This is pretty much just if you farm something specific, this is giving you a little boost and giving you an easier time to go ahead of something, upgrading something maybe, or whatever you're farming. And you don't want to sweat, you just want to chill. Maybe you come off work and you just want to have a jolly good time just grinding some stuff like harder monsters, and you don't want to sweat too much. It's okay, you can use it. But obviously if it's infinite, take attention. If you see an orange aura around yourself when you go on quest, this means Hulk pot effect is on. If you didn't use a Hulk pot potion, then it's most likely the logging boost. There's also an assist curse, which does this permanently, but we're gonna talk about that later. For now, it's probably logging boost you have enabled. So if it doesn't disable, refer to the community Discord. They can easily tell you how to disable this. It is done via the PG admin UI. It's not hard. You can also use Checker to Save Manager. Actually, he has added an option to just reset it. So go ahead and grab that maybe. But yeah, it's a nice boost if you do something specific, like you want more calves or something. It's nice to have to activate and use. Just keep that in mind, because it can mess around with your perception. If you run around a 70% damage reduction obviously the entire time and you don't know about it, or you do know about it and go off this 70% damage reduction and just play normally, you're like, what is happening? Why is there so much damage? What is, like, this guy never did that much damage. How did I get one shot? Well, you didn't upgrade your equipment because you didn't need to, right? The perception of playing the game will be different with this effect on and off. That is definitely a warning I can give you. Also, you can have, with the X button here, as you can see, you have some information about the logging boost too. Tells you here exactly what it does. Second week, 4 week, 5 weeks, yeah, and the resets. But yeah, heads up. Then you have Quick Party. I think Wish did fix this. It could be in this patch or the next one, I can't sure. But this is pretty much just a Quick Party search. Obviously, it's a multiplayer thing, so I can't tell you much about it, but I guess it's a quick joining with people who have similar goals, like you can search by criteria, like find high rank quests or whatever. This is maybe pretty helpful for bigger servers, obviously. For play yourself or as friends, this is completely useless, but it's there. And the last one is obviously quit the game out. This is pretty much the main options and menus you need to look out for. Then we have one more menu I can go over quickly. This is the move menu. Move menu is pretty much just like a quick teleportation thing, and you have access from it. You can press on the controller the L3 button, yeah, the L3 button, and then you can change either the land, which is the channel inside of a server. You can change world, which you can change the server with. Then you have the quest board, where you can just teleport to the quest board. Bam. As you can see here, you can go to the bounty board. You can go to my house, blacksmith, Palone. I guess you get the gift, the gist of this, right? You can just quick teleport to locations. Keep in mind, if you were like inside your house, for example, this menu will change and you have different access to different things. You can't teleport directly to the blacksmith from here, but to like my gallery, garden, Torah, etc. So this menu changes if you're wondering, where's my blacksmith? Why can't I teleport to blacksmith? That is why. And this is pretty much the most boring of them all videos, going over the option and whatever, but we did it. This is the first video of the series. Take your time with this. This is maybe a bit longer because I'm talking about the intro and whatever. And then the next videos will take like specific topics. We're gonna talk about them directly. I won't do like an intro thingy or whatever, but we go directly into them. This will be a series, so individual videos. They will vary in length depending on the topic, and I will make a playlist. I can't promise to have like specific scheduled regular uploads. That's definitely not happening because I'm doing too much things on the side. Especially like streaming takes a lot, like a big part of the week off me. like I do regular streams, I do have 3 days off in the week where I do like other stuff, like Frontier stuff or YouTube stuff, etc. So keep that in mind. I try my best to be as fast as possible. Of course, having so much things at the moment working currently, it will take some time to get adjusted, and some things will just get behind other things, and it takes time. Just have some understanding. I'm just one guy, not really experienced with video editing or like all this kind of stuff. I just try my best here and there. I thank you for zapping in. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, wherever or whenever you are, and I hope I'm gonna see you in the stream. I'm gonna see you on Discord or in the next video. Have a good one. I hope this helps, and bye bye.